Mortgage portability. That is the next option that they are weighing right now to help stimulate the housing market. So if you haven't heard, Trump and his administration, along with Fannie Mae, are talking about being able to port your home interest into your next purchase. As some of you who aren't aware, the housing market has been locked out and frozen because a lot of people are stuck under a 4% interest rate, or 4.5% interest rate as well, and 5. So there is a lot of people just not wanting to sell because they don't want to lose that interest rate. So what they're thinking about now is if you sell your home, you're going to be able to transfer that interest rate to your next property, and that way you can save money on that house. Will it happen? We'll see what happens in the future. But I want to talk about as well the implications of what that means in the real estate market as far as values are concerned. So I have always been one of the very few who said if interest rates fall below 4.5%, possibly even 5%, that housing prices will come down. Now a lot of you say, well, Moses, there's going to be a lot of demand coming in, and you'd be correct. But what you're also not accounting for is the amount of inventory that will be hitting the market as well. And we do know that the median home age that is a purchaser right now is 40 years old. And so who has been locked out of the housing market for, let's just call it 2 years right now, maybe 3? The first-time home buyer, the people who typically drive the housing market. And that has not only been due to interest rates, but also prices, the replacement costs, insurance, property taxes as well. So if we have an example, the median price home in Florida was about $250,000, and now it's about $420,000. So if we were to extrapolate the first-time home buyer inventory, your price would be around the $180,000 to $200,000 mark, $220,000 mark as a first-time entry home, 3-bed, 2-bath. And so if we account for the equity that they would have gained, that house right now is about $300,000 to $350,000. If you've been following me for the past couple of years and you've been going through my charts with me at the amount of inventory that's currently on the market, you know that pretty much under $250,000 is non-existent. There is something just under below $300,000, but our main inventory, where that's at, is $400,000 and above. So if we think about the people who actually purchased, let's say, a home for $250,000, $300,000, and now their properties are worth $400,000 and higher. And if you've again looked at the charts that I've had in those videos, you'll see that the majority of our inventory is actually double what it was during 2008 in those price ranges. Hence why a lot of the houses that are on the market are taking price cuts and are also sitting on the market a lot longer. So if we were to unlock these people who have been holding on to these low interest rates, not only at the mid-range, at the median, what is that going to do for options for buyers now at that point who are trying to move up and carry their interest rate with them? That's going to also unlock more inventory that's currently on the market. So if we're already double what 2008 is for the amount of inventory, and we are going to unlock that inventory, that is going to make more inventory, more time in the market, more time for buyers to look at their choices, and also decrease prices. And also that also unlocks inventory now below the $350,000 mark, which would probably be your more entry-level price home currently. So if we have more inventory coming in at both places, and we actually have options now for people to choose below the median, $150,000 to $100,000 under the median, and the first-time home buyer has been the one who's been locked out of the market. And because transactions, the median prices are determined on the transactions that happen monthly, quarterly, and yearly, and the market share is taking for the first-time home buyer under the median, that is going to drive median prices down, and as well as putting price pressure on the higher median price points and above, because there is that much more inventory on the market. So that is another headwind that we are looking at, because of how much inventory has grown in the specific markets here in Florida. Again, every market is different. It's not going to be the same, and also where those transactions can actually fluctuate to monthly, depending on if you have more higher wage earners now transacting as well, and also the luxury market as well, where you have more the highest incomes transacting at that time too. So we'll see what happens. I do think that this is going to can bring more inventory on the market and maybe push prices down at the median anywhere from 5 to 10% over the course of the year, the next 12 months, if this happens. And we will see if I am right or not. But again, if we do have that much more demand, this is transactional, right? Typically every house closes within about 30 days. So, if you have somebody who has to sell a house to buy a house, that takes a little bit of a lag for that to actually hit the market. Whereas if you have a first-time home buyer, they're renting, they're living with their parents, they're living with family, those transactions happen a lot faster than somebody who has to possibly lease back their home and or possibly rent for a little bit while they're looking for their next home. So there's going to be a time delay for the people who are moving up versus those who are buying their house for the first home. So hope you found that educational. We'll see what happens in the future. 2026 is definitely going to be interesting if they pass this 50-year loan term and also allow your mortgage to be portable, and what other changes could possibly happen in the market. Maybe some sort of grants could be also put out there too for first-time home buyers, and other many programs that they can think of. So take care, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful Friday and a great weekend. Take care.